Stop worrying about wasted time and then start using your time wisely. So, this is the first video I'm recording of the new year. And around this time, people start making resolutions and start reflecting on the past year, or in some cases, their whole life. Because another year has gone by and they start looking back, what did I do last year? And for a lot of people, the answer is not that much. And to be fair, we all have years, ups and downs, of years where we make great progress and other years where we don't make any progress at all. And I believe that if you're not progressing, then you're falling backwards, unfortunately. But the problem comes in is when people start reflecting and instead of making plans and changes to go forward in the future so you actually make this year worthwhile, they instead just fall into self pity and start going into regret about how much time they wasted. Because around this time, everyone's gotten a year older. So if you go from 20 to 21, 40 to 41, any age, you always grow a year older. And that's another year off your life. And every year that goes by, you kind of realize how little time you actually think you have. And that's where people start falling into despair. Well, of course, because if you think about it, this is 2023, so that means 2013 was 10 years ago. And for me, think about what was I doing in 2013? I was just starting high school. But for some people, 2013 feels a lot closer than they thought. That they haven't really changed all that much from that time period. And that's where people start freaking out. That either in the past year, the past 5 years, the past decade, they realize they haven't done much at all. And they haven't changed. And they really haven't been progressing towards what they want to get. And that's where people start kind of freaking out about, like, where's the time gone? And life just seems like it's flying by. And as a wise man once said, the days are long, but the decades are short. And that's absolutely right. But I'm not just going to be talking about this black pill about how short life is and so on, because it's so easy just to start spending so much time on regret and to start hating yourself so much for just wasting time or whatever. And all that leads to is just you falling back into despair and wasting more time. And that's not helpful at all. And so many people just literally waste their entire life just thinking about their past youth, about, oh, I let my youth go by, I let so many opportunities go, I'm not doing anything. And ironically enough, they start wasting their 30s, 40s, 50s, their whole life on just thinking about wasted time. They're just spending so much time on wasted time, which is quite ridiculous. So the obvious thing you got to do is actually start thinking about, how can I use my time more wisely? That by this time next year, 2024 comes, how can I feel like that I accomplished a lot? And now for everyone, that's going to be different. For some people, it could just be small steps, maybe small steps towards one goal, and others, it could be large leaps in a lot of goals. And which, to be fair, most people do with these resolutions. But the issue comes in that most people use New Year's resolutions not as a plan to change, but instead as a way to feel good. That they feel like they're making changes, even though they're not putting the hard work or the hard planning on actually making those changes. So the common cliche is that people join the gym this time of year, which I'm noticing in my gym that there's a lot more people. And probably, though a lot of people going now, come a 1, 2, 3 months from now, they're not going to be going anymore because people have create all these big changes in their mind that, oh, I'm going to lose all this weight, I'm going to save more money, I'm going to go do some of the other goals I want to achieve, go here, go do this, and so on. But they try to do way too much all at once. that they try to make these huge lifestyle changes that aren't sustainable. And that's where they mess up. That they could do it for a week and they feel good, like, wow, like my life feels so much better now after only a week. And then come a few weeks later, you can't keep up. It's just too hard. It's either too time costly, too expensive, and just too energy intensive. And that's when they start falling off the wagon. That they can't go to the gym 6 times a week, or they can't save like 70% of their paycheck. It's just ridiculous. So what do? They fall back into their old ways. And they try to forget about it until come next year where they start feeling the same thing again. The same guilt, except worse because you're 1 year older. And as the song 16 Tons says, another year older and you're deeper in debt. Some of you might be thinking, how can I counteract this? How can I not fall in this classic trap that everyone goes into? And my solution that I use for myself is to start small, right? So, like I said, most people make way too many changes or too big of a change. And the easiest way to make changes is small shifts. Never these life life flipping things. So for example, if you want to eat healthier, right? You can start off by saying, you know what? I'm going to eliminate one food from my diet and I'm going to replace it with another food. So, last year during the summer, on a whim, I decided to just get rid of all soda. So I don't drink any soda at all. And in turn, I told myself that I'm going to start drinking a lot of milk. So milk for me is healthier, has protein, and it does have a little bit of sugar in it. So it still will fill that sugar craving I have. And it's had great changes in my life where I don't really struggle sleeping much more anymore, much more at all. Um, my teeth are healthier, and yeah, just drinking something that's actually beneficial rather than something that's harmful to me. And just that one change, even though maybe on the large scale it isn't huge to my health, that one thing did make a positive impact. And every so often, if I keep making those positive impacts, then over time it will compound into massive shifts in your life. And it's manageable because during that time period in the summer, I only had to fight that one thing, that's soda craving. Instead of having to fight the soda craving, candy craving, fast food craving, pizza craving, all these cravings you have. And it's not sustainable that way. So, one, yes, you got to take it slow. And two, some of you might not want to hear this, but New Year's isn't the only time that you can make changes in your life, right? I think a lot of people do this because it's kind of like, whoa, sorry, um, that might have been too loud. But a lot of people do this because it's the common thing to do. They want to fit in. That it's the thing to do this time of year. Everyone's making changes, so I want to make a change, right? But like I said with my soda thing, I literally just did it on a whim. Now, I'm not going to get into the reasons why, but literally in an afternoon, I'm like, you know what? No more soda for me, and I dropped it right there. And often big decisions you make spontaneous, it could be very bad ones. But strangely enough, some of the better decisions I made in my life have also been on a whim. And not that if you make a big decision, you got to sleep on it. But sometimes those decisions you make on a whim, you make them because it's instinctual. You just know it's the right thing to do. And this can definitely be difficult because you might not feel like you're doing much and you're not going to get that sense of pleasure and reward that most people get from making the huge life changes. However, just know this, that if you keep making these changes, small ones over time, they will compound into huge differences in your life. And you can look back on the previous year and say, wow, like my life's changed so much. Personally for me, every year that goes by, I feel like I'm progressing more and it just keeps amplifying. I feel like 2022 was a better year than 2021. 2021 was a better year than 2020, right? So my changes keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Like that idea with money where if you have a penny and you double it every day, second day you only have 2 pennies, which is nothing. Third day you only have 4 pennies, which is also nothing. However, if you keep doubling it and keep consistent with it, by like day 28, you'll have like over $1 million. That's what it is. And if you keep amplifying these changes, you won't feel the need to make New Year's resolutions anymore. Which I would say you're always progressing in your life, but if you get to the point where you feel like you don't have to make a huge shift and you're not fretting over wasted time because you're using your time wisely, either just achieving certain goals or, living a fulfilling life, then I feel like you're in a good place. But in the meantime, just to sum it up, just take goals slowly, make small changes, do it any time of the year, and the biggest waste of time is when you're fretting and worrying about wasted time. Alright? So you know what you gotta do, and I'll see you around.